13 partner countries, partners that contribute in a significant way to our operations. And Georgia is one of the largest contributors to our ISAF operation, so they will be invited to participate in that meeting. And finally, Georgia will participate in the aspirant countries meeting at the level of their foreign minister.
German radio.
Birgit Schmalzen, German Public Radio. Secretary General, two questions concerning the Youth Summit, the NATO Youth Summit, which is taking place in NATO as well, beginning the 18th. Will you meet the young people and talk with them about their visions? And second question, what is this IREP competition all about? Have you seen these videos, and are you content about the answers the net community gave you on this question? What is peace and security for you?
First, on the Youth Summit, yes, I will deliver a speech, and I also made a speech when a similar youth summit was organized in Lisbon in 2010, because I attach strong importance to the engagement of the young generation when it comes to NATO and the future of NATO. So I expect to have a lively dialogue with representatives of the younger generation. In my speech, I will outline the summit agenda, because it is a youth summit, so I would expect the participants in the youth summit to be engaged in the summit agenda, the three main topics: Afghanistan, how to provide security in a time of economic austerity, and how to strengthen our partnerships with partners across the globe. But I would expect a dialogue with the participants in the Youth Summit on a broader agenda focused on the future of our alliance. What is their vision of NATO 2020? NATO 2020 will actually also be discussed at the summit among leaders, but I think it would be of utmost interest to listen to young people and their ideas as to how they see the future of our alliance. I see this as a particular challenge because for the elder generation, it's quite obvious that NATO was a huge success during the Cold War and prevented it from getting hot, and we also created a framework for development of freedom, democracy and peace in Europe post Cold War. But for the younger generation, this is the past. So I think now it's it's of utmost importance to discuss with them how do they see the rationale of NATO in the future. So I look very much forward to engaging with the young generation in Chicago. IREPS is a public diplomacy video competition we have initiated, a competition that shows young people are interested in NATO. So that's actually part of the very same concept.
Kuwaiti Press Agency.
Nawab Khan from the Kuwait News Agency, Kuna. Just a brief question, Mr. Secretary General. have leaders from the Arab world and Asian countries like India or China invited to the Chicago summit?
Yeah, China and India will not attend the summit, but we have invited partners across the globe to participate in Chicago. One event is the ISAF meeting. It will be an extended ISAF meeting, which means that in addition to the 50 ISAF partners, we have also invited countries from Central Asia, and we have invited Russia, because all of these countries provide transit arrangements for our operation in Afghanistan. We have invited Japan, which is a significant financial contributor. We have invited international organizations, the United Nations, the World Bank. We have invited the European Union. So that will be quite a gathering demonstrating that the whole of the international community has a responsibility for the situation in Afghanistan and the region. We will organize this special partnership event for countries that contribute to our operations militarily or politically or financially in a very significant way. And among these will also be countries from the Asia-Pacific region like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, and countries from North Africa and the Middle East. They contributed significantly to our operation in Libya. So we want to acknowledge these contributions to our operations.
Associated Press.
Slavo Lekic from the Associated Press. In the same context, just to follow up, have you invited Israel? There's been some debate in both the Israeli media and the Turkish media that apparently Turkey blocked Israel from participating, and with Israel, of course, the other 5 or 6 Mediterranean dialogue countries were also excluded. Is that correct?
Israel has not been invited to attend the summit because Israel is neither a participant in ISAF nor in KFOR. So for the very same reason, I can also clearly state that no one has blocked an invitation because it's not been an issue.
GOTV.
Beg your pardon? Yeah, but this special partnership event in which we will meet with partners that have contributed in a significant way to our operations, we go beyond and across the existing partnership frameworks. So we have not invited the group of Mediterranean dialogue partners or the group of Istanbul Cooperation partners. But we have invited 4 partners from North Africa and the Middle East, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Morocco, because they have contributed in a significant way to our operations.
GOTV.
Khalid Amin Faruqi from GOTV. Secretary, recent development vis-a-vis Pakistan back to Chicago summit seems that all resistant factions in Afghanistan, Afghani network, Taliban, and Pakistan become almost irrelevant, and these very important stakeholders are not coming to Chicago.
let me stress that the whole of the region is of great importance to us. In Chicago, we will of course also discuss the regional aspects of our operation in Afghanistan. And in particular, let me stress that if we are to ensure long-term peace and stability in Afghanistan, we also need a positive engagement of Pakistan. Actually, we have done a lot to develop a strong relationship, strong partnership, strong cooperation with Pakistan. As I mentioned, we have actually invited a number of countries from the region, neighbors of Afghanistan, Central Asian countries, Russia, because they provide important transit arrangements to the benefit of our operation. But as you also know, our transit routes through Pakistan are currently blocked. So we have to continue our dialogue with Pakistan with a view to finding a solution to that, because that's really a matter of concern.
German television.
Secretary General Kai Niklas from German television ZDF. Two questions. You said that I'm here. Here. You said that you spoke with President Hollande on the phone, and when he's officially in charge, he might answer whether France will leave or won't. But does NATO already have a plan when France is leaving? Who will replace the France troops in Afghanistan? Is there a plan B? And the second question is concerning missile defense. You said NATO will declare interim capability. What does it mean? What is NATO able of? What can you declare in Chicago? Which areas are protected? How far has all the computer programs be put together? How much have you paid for that already? And what are the next steps?
First, on France, I understand very well your questions and your interest in getting exact answers. But let me also stress that I think we should respect, all of us, that France has only one president at a time. And it won't be until next week that a new president will be inaugurated. So though I have called Monsieur Hollande and congratulated him on his election as a new president of France, and expressing my wish to cooperate closely with him on the whole range of issues on the NATO agenda, I fully respect that there is a process in France, and of course we can't give exact answers to all these questions until a new president has actually been inaugurated and presented his exact policies when it comes to Afghanistan or when it comes to other issues. And this is the reason why we agreed to continue our dialogue after a new president has been inaugurated, and of course with a view to finding solutions at the NATO summit in Chicago. So until we have a presentation of the new president's policies, I think it would be a bit premature to provide such exact answers. I'm confident we can find solutions. Now, on missile defense, for reasons I think you know, of course, I can't give detailed answers as regards coverage and a lot of other issues. They are, of course, confidential. But I can tell you that our missile defense system aims at protecting the whole of the population, the territory, and forces of European NATO allies. Now, this will be in a gradual process. We call it a phased adaptive process. So we will gradually build up this system. And interim capability means that we take the first step we can use some assets, some facilities, and put them under NATO command and control if needed. And then from this first step, we will further develop the system during the next 8 to 10 years. So interim capability means we start the system, and based on that, we will further develop it in the coming years.
We've got about 5 minutes, and I see about 4 questions outstanding, so please keep it short. National Public Radio.
Everybody knows Brooks can't ask a short question.
I have 3 short questions.
Yeah, voila. Mr. Secretary, the World Bank has come out with a new report this week warning that Afghanistan's security is also dependent on not letting donor aid drop dramatically, that will cause people to go back to the opium trade, will of course give the Taliban a better recruiting base. That isn't technically under NATO's domain, but obviously keeping the security of the country is. So how are you going to manage that as you also talk about keeping a level of military balance?
That's a highly relevant question, though, as you say. This is not primarily a responsibility for NATO or ISAF, and this is also a reason why economic and social development of Afghanistan follow a separate track. As you know, the international community organized a conference in Bonn in December, actually to discuss exactly that question, how to provide the necessary assistance to Afghanistan when it comes to capacity building, economic and social development. That Bonn conference will be followed up by a Tokyo conference that will take place in July this year, building on the results from the Bonn conference. This is a mutual commitment. On the one hand, the international community realizes that to ensure long-term peace and stability in Afghanistan and in the region, it is necessary to provide financial assistance to Afghanistan. But on the other hand, the Afghan government also commits itself to provide good governance, to increase capacity building, to respect basic human rights, including women's rights and the rule of law. So it's a mutual commitment to ensure a positive development in Afghanistan. And then, of course, our responsibility is to provide a secure environment to let all this take place in cooperation with the Afghans, and gradually they will take the security responsibility themselves.
James?
And my questions will all be shorter than yours. One, when will AGS be signed, sealed, and finally delivered? Can you give us a date? It's stretched on for 20 years now. 2, when do you estimate that NATO will move beyond interim MD to actual IOC, initial operating capability? And 3rd, if Europe's economy picks up again in 3 or 4 years, isn't there a substantial risk this will undermine the reasons for smart defense? Or do you expect this to continue? Thank you.
Actually, it was 3 brief questions. But first on ADS, I would expect some contracts to be signed in Chicago. So now it's a reality. Next, on missile defense, when you ask me when will we be able to declare an initial operational capability, which will be the next step, that will of course very much depend on how fast we can progress. So I can't give you a date today, but the interim capability would be the first step. Then we will immediately start phase 2. As you know, Romania has agreed to host one of the missile defense facilities that will be part of phase 3 in 2015. Poland will host another missile defense facility, which I think could be established in 2018. So you will see this system progress during the coming years. And we are on track. Finally, on smart defense, I would say that the economic crisis and the fact that defense ministers are faced with declining defense budgets make it the more important to find new ways and means to make more efficient use of the resources available. So I would expect the concept of smart defense to take more and more prominence in the coming years. And it has actually been received very, very positively among allies. Let me stress, it will remain primarily a national responsibility to provide the necessary military capabilities. But for many allies, the only way to be able to afford the acquisition of advanced military equipment will be to do it together. So I feel pretty sure that smart defense will remain a crucial element in our defense and security policies in the coming years.
We have time for a very last, very quick question, DPA.
Hi, Alexandra Meyer-Hodal with the German press agency, DPA. Just to piggyback on that last question, you know, at Chicago, you'll basically have a list of promises, I guess, from what I gather on smart defense. How can NATO ensure that member states actually follow through, given that you're only doing a coordination role?
The fact is that a number of allies, I think actually all allies, have subscribed to a number of multinational projects, and that will be part of the package we will adopt in Chicago. We will adopt a defense package, and in that package you will see between 20 and 30 concrete multinational projects, and we have already identified lead nations that will take the lead in these multinational projects, and we have identified in a concrete manner participants in these multinational projects. So it's not just hot air. Nations have already signed up to these projects. Furthermore, we have already touched upon the Allied ground surveillance project. I would expect contracts to be signed in Chicago. That's really a very, very concrete demonstration of commitment to acquiring much needed military capabilities. We will declare an interim capability of missile defense, and while the US contribution to missile defense is a significant part of the NATO missile defense system, it's important to note that a number of European allies also provide contributions to the NATO missile defense system. So that's yet another concrete example. And finally, in Chicago, as part of the defense package, you will also see that we will continue air policing of the Baltic states. Another concrete example of alliance solidarity. So in the defense package, you will see a demonstration of clear commitments. It's not just hot air.
So we expect to see you in Chicago soon. Thank you very much.